Hey everybody, welcome back to Wicked Good Sports and welcome back to the Bayou Breakdown. Jack, it's been a minute. How you doing?
It has been a minute. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but regular season is over. We're out of playoff contention now, but um, you know, I think lots of lessons learned from this season.
Yeah, so right as you said that, obviously the Saints won 48-21 over the Falcons. They did what they needed to do. But right
hmm
as you said that, Arizona missed the game-winning field goal attempt. So if it makes you feel better, the Cardinals
Okay,
didn't win and the Bears didn't win. So, it wasn't just the Bears blowing it.
I should have known better to rely on the Bears to begin with, but I think you're right. I think it's a matter of like that's at least both things that we needed to happen did not happen. So
Exactly.
Uh, I could go back to being mad at Carolina for doing nothing in this afternoon's game against Tampa, but otherwise, it is what it is,
Well,
I guess.
yeah, Carolina. So walk me through that. So if
Yeah,
the Panthers beat the Bucks and the Saints beat the Falcons, would the Saints have won the NFC South?
they would have. Yep.
Okay.
So we would have had that division title. We'd have been locked in, and there was still, I think, technically the Bucks would have also then needed the same things that we needed to get into the playoffs,
Mm,
but obviously it didn't happen.
no, the Bucks beat the Panthers 9-0.
A gross score.
Oh, dude, I don't know what the Panthers are gonna do, man. They're
Me neither.
they're up Shit's Creek, it seems, and their owner is throwing drinks on opposing
Yeah,
fans. It's just
going well,
it's
and
a bad
admitting to it
situation.
essentially. Yeah,
Yeah, well, it was on
video
video,
evidence
so
too. Yeah, good
I
point.
can't
Didn't have a
really say
choice.
it wasn't
I
wasn't
was like,
me.
I will say, I'm like, I don't know if this is it or like, I don't know if he's actually doing it or not. And then when he apologized, I was like, oh, okay, got it, understood.
Yeah, I don't think he could have
But
lied his way out of that one. But
no,
yeah,
no,
disaster there. Tough to have to rely on
yeah,
them. They couldn't even score a single point to try to challenge the
do
Bucks,
something.
who
Yeah,
themselves didn't have the greatest game.
no,
Only 9 points, only field goals.
hmm
But yeah, good for them. They're NFC South champs. So I guess take me through this game today. At least maybe a little bit of like a good game to head into the off season on.
I'd say so. I mean, looking at the NFC South, I mean, of all the teams that played today, the Saints looked the best by about a mile and a half. So that's refreshing, I guess. That's not usually the case. It's been a lot of Tampa versus New Orleans this season, I would say. Um, Tampa's getting cool at the wrong time, unfortunately. I don't think, in fairness, I don't think anybody who won the NFC South was going to look good going into the playoffs. But I think, yeah, the game that happened again with the Falcons today. Um, Nice to see Kendre Miller get some run. He's a guy we drafted in the third round as a running back. He had 13 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown because though Camaro was out, he did that. Jamal Williams, unfortunately, largely ineffective. But I mean, otherwise, it was a pretty even spread when it came to the receiving game. And I would say Derek Carr looked good. A weak Falcon secondary, of course, so that doesn't really mean much. But I would say Carr went 22 of 28 for 264 and 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, I'm happy with that, right? Like that is probably the best thing he could have done to like make Saints fans not be at his neck the entire offseason. Um, if you wanna save yourself a bit, I think that's it. But um, I will also say that I think Art Smith has embodies the entirety of Saints fans and their mentality towards Dennis Allen after watching that exchange at the end of the game. But yeah, I mean, look, Saints looked good. Um, Unfortunately, it doesn't mean anything. That's what sucks. So we have to hold that going into next year when we have an aging roster, aside from essentially our wide receiver core. And it's scary to think about. But if we can get out of cap hell, maybe it'll be a different story.
Yeah, it's gonna, that's tough, obviously, to get out of
Mhm.
there, but
Yeah,
we'll
lots of
see what
signing
happens.
bonuses. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what the Saints can do. Well, on that note, though, you said you didn't love Dennis Allen. For anyone who missed that, Arthur Smith, said that was. I think he said that was effing bullshit.
Think so. Think so.
Scoring the touchdown, and that's you said that's how Saints fans feel about Dennis Allen. So what's the I guess mood right now? Do you want out of the Dennis Allen experience, or one more
I think
year? Or what do you think?
no, I'm done. I'm done with Dennis Allen. I'll be honest, and I don't think this is gonna happen, but I would be okay with Gruden. Like if we can get
Okay.
just essentially if we take the Raiders and like bring them down here with like which obviously wasn't effective there, but like it was on its way. I would feel a lot better about this team. I think Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael need to go. Pete Carmichael being our OC, like they're
Mm,
just so I don't want to say inconsistent, but I mean they are, but like it goes be like it seems like everything that they do is just really short-sighted and like only plans like one level deep when you need to be a couple levels deep. Um, I just don't think these guys really have it, to be honest. And I don't think, I mean, with a win now roster, I feel like we need to have a coach come in that can, knows how to command a team. And I don't think either of those guys can do it, especially Dennis Allen.
yeah, that would be very interesting. I know John Gruden helped out this offseason. He also, I think, is currently suing the league for
Um,
wrongful termination. So I don't
Probably
know.
not.
Yeah, I don't know how that will work. Maybe it's a deal. Maybe it's like if you drop the lawsuit, you can, coach the Saints. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, right. I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know if it'll fix. I don't think it's a band-aid, right? Or I think it would be a band-aid if anything. But I
Mm.
don't know if yeah, I don't know if the NFL would even let him coach, regardless.
It's very contentious right now, and like
Good point.
obviously he feels like he was the scapegoat for this whole situation there, which I agree. I
He's
don't think
right.
he, the stuff he said in the emails was not good. Shouldn't have said that stuff.
Hmm.
Um, don't know why they were investigating Washington football team and John Gruden was the one to get
Get
fired. That
the ball
seems
somehow.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think he does have a legitimate grievance in terms of being the fall guy, but also shouldn't have been saying things that he said that got
Right.
him
Agreed.
fired. So, you know, we'll see what happens there. Are you cool with going into the next? I mean, you kind of have to be, but are you cool with going into the next season with Derek Carr?
I think yeah, I would say we don't have a choice, right? I think I mean, I'll be honest, he's fine. I don't think he's anything exceptional, and I feel like there were a lot of times, especially early in the season, where it just took him a little bit to acclimate. He wasn't. I mean, the connection with Chris Olave took a while to form. Rashid Shaheed has been solid, and Michael Thomas was solid, but um, can't really rely on him. So it's a matter of I. I think I'm fine with Derek Carr. I wouldn't say that I'm happy, but I'm fine with it. We just need to build up other aspects of our team. Um, I don't know if we're gonna have Kamara. I don't know if we're gonna have. Um, I don't know what Michael Thomas is gonna look like. It's a lot of unknowns. I would say. So, I guess if Derek Carr, who is like the mid of mid quarterbacks, is our the one leading that offense, I think it'll be fine. Um, but I don't know how many games he's gonna win for us.
Yeah, and I don't. Is Jameis? Is this his last year under contract with the
So,
Saints?
good call. I'm glad you said that. They just restructured his contract today to add 2 years onto it.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was his last. I think, yeah, I believe this was his last year, and now there are 2 additional years on that.
All right, so he's potentially going to stay as a backup here in New
Yeah, which is
Orleans. I
good.
like that. I like keeping
Me too.
him because I was convinced that he was going to end up in Denver after the ran Russell Wilson out of town. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
because he did have a very good 7 games under Sean Payton a few years ago before he got hurt. So I was thinking, okay, maybe that's the move for Denver, but no, Saints are keeping him, so that could be interesting. I
hmm
wonder if they'll have a legit competition or if they'll just like kind of keep this as a status quo of the quarterback depth chart.
definitely. It'll be interesting to see who we draft too, right? I know like mid first round, I doubt any of those like high end quarterbacks will still be on the board, but you do have to think about. I mean, also honestly, was it just like to add value to Jameis if we use him as a trade chip in this offseason? Like, I'm not sure because technically it was in this league year, so I don't know if he's eligible for trade. I think in the league year happens on like March 31st or whatever. So I think that might be why. I'm not really sure to be honest. Like maybe he's
Hmm.
asked for out. He thinks he's like stuck behind Carr, and I don't blame him. He's right. So for now, at least, hopefully, I mean, I'd like to. I think we're both Jameis stands here, so we'll
I
see what happens.
mean, he's a lot more interesting
He's more
to
fun.
watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's gonna
Maybe not
either
better,
do the most amazing thing or the worst thing.
or the
There's
dumbest
no
thing
in
possible. Yeah,
between with
yeah, no,
him, and that
no dink
makes
and
it
dump
yeah, as someone, covering the Saints, that makes it more interesting for me to be like, what's he gonna do? I have no idea. Does he
truly.
even
Yeah,
know? Unsure.
no, no,
Yeah.
he does not.
So I guess we'll see, but I mean, yeah, like you said, Jamal Williams not good this year. That was a free agent
No,
signing.
no.
Did he score this whole year
I actually
after
don't think he
leading
has.
the league
Oh, he
in
had one today.
touchdowns?
Sorry, he did
Okay,
have
he
one
had one
today.
today.
Yep.
Okay, after
Thank
leading the
God.
league in touchdowns last season, and then nothing
One.
until
Yeah,
this week. That's tough.
it's bad. That's
Yeah,
bad. I will say, I mean, he was hurt a good portion of the season too, if I
yeah,
remember correctly,
he
right? But
was. Yeah, yeah.
still won. I mean, I guess you're behind Alvin Kamara, and it was
Mhm.
less of a committee approach than it was in Detroit. But even still, like that's got to be. You're supposed to be a goal line back. That's tough. Maybe
Mhm.
it speaks that we were never at the goal line, so he never had his
Right.
opportunities. But yeah,
Yeah.
tough
Then Chris Olave still, building his star. I feel like so that's at least a positive.
for sure. I think Chris Olave is one of the lone bright spots on this team. Um, you could even say the receiving core in general, right? A.T.
Yeah,
Perry, the guy
Shaheed.
we drafted late. Yeah, Rashid Shaheed has looked. I mean, considering he was undrafted and he's kind of come into his own
Hmm.
this year as at least the number three. I would say probably number two right now without Michael Thomas. Like guaranteed
Yeah.
deep
Well,
threat
yeah.
guy. Yeah, yeah. I mean, again,
It's
how much
over with
and
Michael
that's
Thomas. I'm
exactly.
done
I
talking
I
about him.
I am too. Honestly, we need to get those slant boy shirts made, but
Yeah.
then burn them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
So
thing we didn't because
it is.
he never returned.
What a mistake. Yeah, the slant boy
Little
returns
more
to do
like,
nothing.
yeah, not like the Dark Knight Christian Bale, more like Ben
No.
Affleck Dark Knight, where
Yeah.
he just kind of disappeared and
e-
it's like, is that it?
Everyone was happier for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like, ah,
That's where
I
we're
just
at.
I was expecting more, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And it was the same with him. I mean, he
Yeah.
just kind of, he was here for a little bit and he looked okay and he was a good red zone touchdown guy and then he
Mhm.
was useless. But otherwise, yeah, you're right. No more Michael Thomas. I would say, I mean, yeah, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, some bright spots. I liked what I saw from Kendra Miller today. Um, if this is the end of Alvin Kamara, I've seen a lot of rumblings of, like he is still an elite running back. Let's try to get some money for him or something back for him while we still can. Um, and I could see him going to, maybe next year a contender like Baltimore, um, something
Baltimore
like
doesn't
that.
need anyone else. Let's
No, you're right.
stop getting people to Baltimore, please.
You're
They're
right.
a
I agree.
buzzsaw.
They've got
They're
Dalvin
too
Cook
good.
now too. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm not
that's
sure
great.
how much that's gonna matter,
That's
but
super effective. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Will he even be on
he's
the field? Who knows? Yeah.
yeah, right. Yeah. That's so funny because before the season started, the Dolphins were flirting with getting him, and then like
Yeah.
he went to the Jets, and I was like, oh, that's too bad. But then it really didn't matter. He looked so
He kind of
washed.
sucked. He looked
Yeah,
terrible. And then you have two good, solid guys that I would say are both arguably, not even arguably, both are significantly better than what Dalvin Cook was this year.
I think so. Not that it matters because Mostert's hurt
Yeah.
for tonight's game, but whatever, it's fine. Dolphins are gonna fucking lose, and then we're gonna have to, you know, either the Dolphins are gonna win and then have to play the Bills again next week,
Oh, stop.
which would be interesting, I guess, or they're gonna lose and have to play Kansas City in Kansas City. So
That might be better, honestly.
that
I don't
honestly
know.
might be better.
Maybe
Yeah,
you lose. Yeah. Maybe you take the L here.
yeah. I get some people, back from injuries for next week going to Arrowhead, but uh, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to tonight's game that much. We'll
Yeah.
see.
A little painful. I
I
get
just
you.
don't.
I've been
Yeah,
there, man. That was today for me. I was watching the Saints and I'm like, I don't even care about this game because they're up by a million. Like I'm watching the Bucks game and it is
yeah,
just a bloodbath, man. It's terrible.
so bad. Such a bad game. But
It was.
yeah. I guess anything else about the Saints before we close the book on 2023 season? I know it's 2024 today, but 2023 season.
Yeah, that's fair. I would say not really. I mean, I don't know how much is really going to change going into next year. A lot of our core guys are under contract. Going into contract years, I think I will say if we're not looking so great going into that trade deadline, I could see a lot of guys being sold off again. Marshawn Lattimore, not Lattimore, sorry. Tyrann Mathieu, Alvin Kamara, like those guys at the end of their deal, high impact guys who just are on a badly coached team, I would say, bad play calling, all that. Um, Look for them to get freed up. I think it could be a painful year coming up, but I'd like to think that maybe we start off hot. We have that rapport built with our new quarterback. Maybe Dennis Allen has learned how to, make play call anything. Um, Same for Pete Carmichael, but I think Dennis Allen's coming back next year, which is unfortunate. So just kind of got to let it ride, kind of throw the dice, see where it goes. Um, but it's seeming like it's probably gonna be more of the same next year, unfortunately, which is super frustrating. But it is what it is. I'm just hoping Baker turns back into a pumpkin. Honestly, like that's the best thing I
Right.
can hope for.
Yeah. And hey, at the end of the day, it's still the NFC South. So,
It is. Yeah,
it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, there were a couple things going their way away from making the playoffs this year. So,
true. Right. I think we
you know,
have very easily the second and third best quarterbacks in the NFC South. So
mhm,
there's at least that.
exactly. All right. Well, we'll be back like with Celtics coverage, I'm
That's
sure a
true.
lot more at the buzzer. Check that
Thankfully.
out. But for now, anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Sure. Best place to find me is on Twitter, and that's at Jack_Tiernan or X, whatever you want to call it. Follow me there for Red Sox, Celtics takes, especially, and any Saints offseason stuff I hope goes on. Hopefully something. Hopefully Dennis Allen is gone. Please give me that. You can also follow my disc golf page on Instagram, and that's at Jack Disc Golfs. Very easy to find. Follow me in those places.
Yeah. And, even if football does disappoint us again this year, we have the Celtics who
If
look
nothing else,
like a
that's true.
juggernaut.
Yeah.
So
Easiest
we'll
second half of the schedule. Yep, we got that going for us.
we'll be happily covering them. So please subscribe for that if you're interested in basketball talk. Other than that, yes, you can follow the channel on Twitter. I'm just going to keep calling it Twitter at WG Everything. I'm there also at the Fake BMR, BMARR. And the channel is like everywhere else: TikTok, Instagram, at Wicked Good Sports. And yeah, other than that, thank you so much for your time, Jack.
Thanks for having me, Bry.
I'll see you all in the next one.